positive. Like I would like to state in the very beginning that I do not think that any of this is negative, and that it's super important for everyone to understand that it's necessary, and that I think we were all aware that a correction was overdue. Like, yes, it was, or it's amazing or cool if you have either an NFT bull run or an altcoin bull run or the meme coins. But if we are really honest, the meme coin run and pump fund, the extraction of the KOLs, all those streaming tokens, that went on for a very, very, very long time. And in a bull market, so here comes the very important thing. In a bull market, you have up to 30 to 40% in downside on Bitcoin and other assets. Like that can happen, okay? And Bitcoin right now has roughly 30%. So this is why the line in the sand is the 80, 90K level. Because in a bear market, you have 40 to 70% drawdown. Like you can check, or we can check a bit on historic data on Bitcoin as well, or I can post a few charts regarding those. But this is something that determines market structure. For now, what happened yesterday, clearly, was a TWAP. Like you saw all those candles that we basically had every 30 minutes, basically for the whole day or every hour, candles that almost looked kind of the same of downside selling pressure. So what got sold yesterday, besides that always the usual capitulation week, was probably an entity selling. So that could be a fund, an exchange. You know, some people like to say, oh yeah, that was Trump and associates. What is a guarantee? The only thing that is really a guarantee is that it was not Michael Saylor. If Michael Saylor and his associates would be selling, it's completely over for a few years. So that was probably, besides being overextended, an entity, or let's say Wintermute together with Binance, some Trump insiders, heavily taking profits. That was not selling under a loss. That was not a liquidation event, but that selling led to people getting liquidated. So far, we could still be in a bull market. It just depends what you define on this term, bull market or bear market.
Yeah, fully agree. It looks like profit taking. It could even be like OG Bitcoin whales. So I read a piece recently, yesterday actually, about how um, this the choppiness we're seeing here around 100K. It's like an IPO moment for Bitcoin, and what that means is usually when you have companies going public, you have before the company goes public, the shareholders are all the investors, the employees, the owners, the stakeholders in the company, and people don't have access to buy that until they get IPO, right, and they go public. So then you have this like changing of the guard kind of thing, where you have all the original investors taking profits, and you have new people buying, and there's the piece. I'm going to find the link for it and drop it in the chat here. But the TLDR is it's possible that that's what we're seeing now on Bitcoin, where we have all the people that bought Bitcoin from 2012 onwards, and they're up billions of dollars now. The structure for them to sell their positions hasn't been around, right? Because imagine you in the last cycle, you try and sell billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, you'll nuke the chart, right? Now we have ETFs, we have institutional buying, we have the ability is there to absorb that selling pressure, and so now the structure is there for all these whales to start taking profits, and that's a potential reason for why we've seen Bitcoin kind of stalling around 100K while the S&P and the Nasdaq are making new highs. Here's the link for that. It's a bit of a long read, but very interesting. Um, Kind of resonates with me as well. Definitely recommend people to read this. I just dropped it in the voice chat here. Cool. So, Umbas, do you want to pull up some charts, or kind of the floor is yours? I'll let you take it, and then you jump in with questions, and if anyone has questions along the way, we'll jump in.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Quick question, Asian, are you recording this? Are we recording tomorrow, like just for the members that are not here right now, or do we just keep it casual? I'm cool with both.
I believe we're recording. Yeah, he says we're
Okay,
recording.
cool. Super. Cool. Let me check.
Why is so many people on chat today?
We've got some legendary traders sharing their insights in these troubling times.
I can't hear for shit.
I'm just pulling up the charts before I start hitting the share button. Um, the chart looks so horrible. What the fuck?
Yeah, cover your children's eyes. Don't let them see it.
Yeah, it's just a bit lame that I can't seem to, like, here's my Discord. So I will just, I hope you can see it now. I just wanted to only share TradingView, but that's totally fine. Like I will just uh, maybe jump throughout them. Can you just confirm that you see when I change, I'm changing now from Bitcoin to Ethereum?
Yep.
To Aster. Super. Um, cool. So yeah, I would like to go through a few different charts that I think are worthy sharing. Um, Feel free to suggest coins. Um, Here on the right, before I start, like I will just quickly explain my bread and butter and why, at least I think, I'm keeping trading quite simple, even though there are different things. So here on the right, I have just a watch list, I think, as everyone else, where I just like to have favorites, but not, those are not just quick explanation. Those are not my favorite crypto coins. Those are my favorite coins to trade to the up and to the downside because they are so crazily volatile. Um, where you have something like Jupiter in. Why? Because Solana is amazing to trade. And if you have a tendency of knowing, or you have a feeling that Solana could see a little bit sell pressure, and you additionally know that Jupiter is one of the companies or projects that are not paying their salary in US dollars, but they pay their salary or KOL allocations often in Jupe token, and you know that there is an additional sell pressure, then what you can do often is you just check, hey, um, here is as an example the VWMA, which is basically something like an EMA, like the moving average, but it also accounts for the volume, which you also see here that I'm trading a lot based off the VRVP, as I always want to know where a point of control is. What is a point of control? Those are the areas for price within a chart, within an asset, that are heavily fought over, which tended, like in the past or can be in the future, will be the areas where someone speaks of, oh, that was support and turned into resistance. Yeah. As we had it here on an example, as an example with Solana. And as I also shared, as you can see, if you right now check AlphaBlock TA, the channel of what I'm sharing is um, usually, like I also often had an RSI here, but I'm not using that so much anymore. But what you can clearly see is we had here a very important area after an initial sell-off 2 weeks ago, right? And then you can see on lower time frames this area becoming very important. So you had an initial sell-off, you start building higher lows. Here you had a higher high after higher high. Price for the first time flipped above the, it could be for you the EMA 20, EMA 50, VWMA 50, like that doesn't matter. You get what I mean. And here you have a flip into the bullish structure, which was one of the reasons we were bidding quite high. But if you then see from an initial sell off and a little, here you saw initial sell off, price reacted here, sells off again, and that was then also the high of the next time. So you could determine, okay, this is an important level here, right? And then we saw back then that Solana starts nuking down back below, and then it's also going below the moving average and starts printing lower highs for the first time again, and then nearing the point of control. And now you see the big slam dunk down again was another confirmation as to why I can recommend you setting the VRVP and respecting volume into the price action so much, because you see the moment we did not only get rejected, like of course, lower high, lower high, lower high, but we got rejected here as well as from the POC. We immediately nuked like 20%, and this is at 15%, which is absolutely crazy. So those are the things that I love looking out for. And if you then have an asset like this and you have the proxies for it as well, like the betas, then you can just beautifully trade them as well. Like you can just see that Solana seems to be fighting way harder on the bounces than Jupiter. It's way more flat. But the downside is more outrageous. So this is why I love trading Jupe, why I love shorting Jupe as a beta play to Solana looking bad. Yeah, I'm never longing Jupe. Maybe what can be nice is longing Meteora as a positive beta play to Solana, because we have that event Met Derby. Are you going there, Vitalizing?
I am, yeah. I think a few of us here should be going, yeah.
Exactly. And what happened on, if you maybe like, I was at Istanbul, the Jupiter event in Istanbul. So what crypto projects usually tend to is obviously they know and plan ahead when they can release bullish news and when they can support price again more. I'm just saying it's not a guarantee, but it's a tendency that projects like to release those things at, around, and before real life events, because obviously, if your asset is down 90% and you lost your life savings and you're going to that event, the chance of you really, or such a person being a really mad person there is way bigger if the token is going down. But even though Jupiter back then at the Jupery was down like 60, 70%, and then they announced all their catalysts with the buybacks and burns and blah, blah, blah. And while we were standing in that like event, while Meow was on stage, and we were all like, okay, we heard the rumors already. They will announce something big. So we literally flipped long in the event, and Jupiter just pumped 50% in one day, right? And the day after. And I think that you can use such a thing for the future or just have it in the back of the mind. So now we know that the market sold off heavily, right? And now we have something that kind of looks like a local bottom here, just as an example. Those are candles that I like to see. So you could try to look at least for a bounce right now. But we know that Meteora has this event in a month. So when we are now bullish on Sol, this is something that we could say, hey, cool, here we can bet on Meteora, as the chance is not only that it sees upside because Bitcoin bounces or Solana bounces. If Solana bounces, Meteora could bounce. Um, so this would be an example as where I am looking for betas and coins that I like trading or that I do not see as interesting as trading. So for the moment, since it's really not meme season, I don't have a big business in trading coins like Pepe or Bonk with Link. For now, I don't do that. But what is interesting right now is Zcash. And since I do believe that um, XMR might even be the better privacy coin, but this is not about being what's better or not, then you can have here, let's say here Zcash. I think Asta is also very, very interesting. If you've made money off of hype and hyperliquid, I think Aster is the only worthy comparable coin. So this is something that I really like to do. XMR, Zcash. That I like looking for pairs. I like looking for correlations. And therefore, if Zcash is having a run, then you could just think like, oh, okay, maybe the even older and more OG coin can also have its moment. Obviously, right now, it all depends on Bitcoin. What do you think, guys? Like, did you do you correlate with my logic that you look for a beta play within an ecosystem? Do you agree with my logic that, or with my thought, um, that maybe because Jupiter and Meteora are kind of the same team? But if you would compare them with the event coming up, do you think it makes sense um, to at least try to like look a bit for the bullish opportunities in Meteora, or is for you guys are both dead? That would be something interesting for me. And do you have another example for a comparison like Zcash that it makes sense for you? That Monero is the first real privacy coin um, has a place to stay or has a place to at least trade? Um, or which coins are you interested in? Like, if you just want to type it in the chat, feel free to share those tickers as well, please. Um, yeah,
I
I'll
think
mute
for
myself.
Eura, in my opinion, it's like the bullish catalysts are many, right? Because they, when they launched Soju, the founder was saying, "Hey, we're just going to launch it as a meme coin. There's no utility right now." Um, and of course, they have this like massive protocol on Solana. They're doing tons of volume, tons of revenue. Uh, they have like so many different ways they can add utility to the coin. Um, and no doubt there's probably going to be something at Met Derby that gets announced. So I agree with you there. And obviously we already have the historical comparison with Jupe at Istanbul. Um, there's no reason to believe it's going to be bearish for the token. It's I feel like there's many things they can do that will create bullishness for the Met coin. Um, Regarding privacy, I'm not really that into it. I've just seen the rise of Zcash and not familiar with like tons of other projects in that space. But it's quite interesting how well Zcash is holding while Bitcoin is selling off. That's definitely uh, something going on there. The other sector that's interesting now is neo banking, right? It's the crypto banks. So we've got Avicii on Solana that's holding up really well. I think there's Ubit now, which is another token that launched. I think it's backed by Tether. So that's obviously huge. Um, that's kind of way smaller in market cap. We're talking, sub 100 mil to like a few hundreds of M in market cap. Um, but again, it's like with beta plays, it's like how low do you go, right? You have the alts that are betas to Bitcoin, and then you have their own respective ecosystems, and it's kind of I feel like the lower you go, the more kind of clued in and tapped into the ecosystem you have to be able to make a decision on what's going to give you the good returns there. And then if you play that game correctly, then you get outsized returns in comparison to the parent coin. So um, yeah, I like how you shared your beta plays for Solana, and definitely agree with you on that.
Well, I'll check the chat. Almost, what do you think about weekly close below 50 SMA? You don't think that's a bearish sign? Before I check the chart, the answer is clearly yes. It's a bearish sign if the weekly closes below the 50 SMA, EMA. That really doesn't matter, right? I will pull up the Bitcoin chart. So here, just for anyone that joined freshly, just to wrap up the beta play topic, if you thought that or think that Hype, which I think really is the best DEX, Hyperliquid is or was interesting, Aster is at least interesting to look at just because Binance has so much money, okay? I'm not saying those are good people or not. I'm just saying interesting to trade. Zcash, obviously an extremely nice coin. I didn't buy enough yesterday. Obviously, mega outperforming XMR. What Vitalizing said regarding neobanking, I fully agree. Are absolutely on the rise and very interesting. Ethereum, zero interesting. It's crazy. Um, but now I will flip to Bitcoin for your weekly question. Um, it doesn't really matter if it's the SMA or VMA. Did you really mean the weekly time frame, or did you mean I go on the hourly and check the weekly close price from Sunday? Because right now we are like, if you really look at the long-term chart, like from this time, we are still, and that's also what I meant, like where I see that would determine a bit the difference between bull and bear market. Because if you check our run, like the whole bull run, okay? Here was the flip, right? We had the bear cycle, the bear market.
You're not sharing screen right now, by the way.
We had the thank you. We had the bear cycle, post FTX crash, and everything, right? Um, so this is where we flipped into a bull run, and we always respected the level that you just mentioned, and that kept going. And right now, we are for the first time on the verge of flipping below. But I just want to point out that every time we had this bear cycle within a bull market, I think that's how I would like to phrase it. You can have a bear cycle within a bull market. That happened here, right? From April until September, price went down from in the bull run already, right? Price already 3x. This is a bull run. We went down 35%. Went below the 50 SMA, EMA, VWMA. It's all kind of the same line, okay? And then we expanded again, 120%. Diminishing returns, right? Here we had a 3x. Here we only doubled the money. Interesting. Then again, January this year, we all remember the horrible time after the election. This was the election pump. Then after the election, again, you see, that was what I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the stream, that I just said like, hey, nothing is over yet, because in a bull market, the shakeouts are usually always 30-40%, and then we continue. It's exactly this. You see, this is not just me making this up. This is 33%, 34% downside, upside 33% downside. Then right now we had another run. Here was the top. You see again diminishing returns, 120%, 70%. So this also leads me to the belief, the steam is getting out a bit. So maybe we have a bounce or so, but it could really be happening. Like if we go here, that is obviously then the bull market was over. But that means if that would happen fast here, then the next cycle starts. So I don't really care too much. But now we just compare. Let's allow ourselves again. So right now we have the 25%, right? Just the logic of like this classic whatever, something around 30% drawdown. So yes, if the weekly really closes below, let's say we are here next weekly and we really close the weekly below the 50 SMA, then that is the confirmation that price will go down at least another 10%. So yes, of course, this is bearish if that happens. Right now, we are on the verge. Right now, this is not macro, this is medium term. It's really okay to be where we are right now. The problem is, not the problem, but a situation, also an opportunity. Like this line here, the 50, will continue. I'm just changing the color so you can see it nicer. Sorry, that's a horrible color. Nice. That will continue around like that, right, in the future. So if the next candles would close here, it's getting problematic, because this is the absolute point of control for this whole area, for the current trend. This is a very important level, and that's where it all comes together. This is why this right now is an interesting area to, in between, like try those low time frame longs right now. Maybe today, like an hour ago, I think I longed a little bit at 95K because I have some notifications just for trading view alerts. You all know that. Maybe someone just didn't hear about it, be it CoinGecko or trading view. Just have some logical levels like 95K, 100K, 90K. And as I have a simple rule, like when I get this information, hey, Bitcoin just slipped below 100K, I'm getting alert. But when I saw Bitcoin is below 95K, I was just thinking, boys and girls, we topped at 125K, 126K. So 95K, 96K, where we are right now, means Bitcoin already retraced $30,000. This is so much. And we are, as you can see, right now on this crucial level. So this is where I see an incredible opportunity to trade, to use the LMMs. Insane volume. You just need to know what happens with the downside. But yeah, if we really close below here, we either end up at 85K and try, because why is that level then important? We're not really doing trend lines. If we want to do trend lines, okay, then we are sitting right now on the trend line from 5th of August 24 Price bounced perfectly at the 7th of April 25. And right now, we are sitting at somewhat of a point of control, are about to lose the 50 SMA, sit exactly on this trend line. And if we lose this level, then we literally have a flip from a bullish market structure to a bearish market structure, which means that the next chance, positive chance that we could have would then obviously be a high time frame higher low, because this level here is absolutely crucial as well. This is the next level. That was the first kind of cycle top, like of the bull market, when price went from 20K to 74K. So this is an insanely important level, which was then the higher low here. So we must bounce above here, or we're making a lower low on a multi-year trend, right? So yeah, I hope that explains like a bit the levels and the expectations that I have for this market right now. Why I do believe that this here is an absolutely great opportunity to try to catch some good prices right now, because like just ballpark, this is like not a trading signal. By the way, I never give a trading signal. It's always just a journal of what I believe or what I'm doing. I'm literally just saying what I'm doing or what I believe, and I love hearing feedback of people and just telling someone that what I say is not right. You cannot see this color nicely. 1 second. Yeah. So ballpark, okay, that's just ballpark right now. Let's assume we do not lose the trend on the weekly. We do not lose the SMA, 50 SMA, EMA, whatever, for real. Then a ballpark like this makes absolute sense. Okay. Why? Because if we do not, then you kind of have the confirmation that the setup that you are looking for like this would rather be a short. So this is how I would be playing the cycle theory and to determine like, okay, in which part are we? Whenever we are somewhere between 75 and 65, I'm like not going all in, like something like that never exists, but um, I would use the entirety of my fiat and spot balance that I would have at the moment without taking a loan to literally buy physical Bitcoin and then move that physical Bitcoin to an exchange that allows me to use my physical Bitcoin as a margin to open a 1 or 2x swing loan. Like that's how drastic I would see that. I will just reply in this chat and then we could cultivate it. Yeah, you're very welcome. Um, and let's now just do one more thing before I jump to the next thing. And then it would be something like this, okay? Like this is just an illustration. I bet you fully understand the logic of what I mean. But I think like, you know, like somewhere here, the price of a cheap Bitcoin will just probably become so interesting that so many people finally just have a feel like they have one of the first chances to purchase a meaningful amount of money worth of Bitcoin and crypto, because this is something that I bet or I saw and read a lot of people suffering from, is that they were not and this is not meant negatively, right? Like you, if you are a bit if you're crypto class of 23, 24, nothing about this is negative, and do not let anyone tell you that's longer in the market that you're stupid or that, oh, why did you gamble too much, because you tried. In my first cycle in 2017, guys, I have an old timer car, and I brought it to, like, you have to repair them every time in between to get it ready for the season. And that was in April 2017, and there was Bitcoin was 1,700 euro, and I bought my first one like there, and the first couple of Ethereums for 27 euro. And I literally did not pick up my car from the garage until I had my next salary. So instead of like paying the bill that I would have to, I literally just bought one more Bitcoin because I was so all in. And my friends and me, literally, we sold our PlayStation 3 with the games, the computer setup. I did another side hustle on weekends and at night just to get more cash to buy a meaningful amount of crypto. But also, as I absolutely publicly advised, where I said everything above 100K Bitcoin as a normal person with a normal portfolio and a normal salary. We're talking about you earn 2, 3 grand per month. You're doing well in life. You have the luxury, but you have a normal amount of money that you can invest. It will never change your life circumstances to buy $500 worth of Bitcoin for 120 grand. We all know that. So, what I think is why I would be happy at some point. It doesn't have to happen now. But if this happens, that's where I believe an immense amount of selling pressure comes, right? Because for people that calculate in British pound, I think they are still quite stronger, 10% or 8% than the euro. And the euro is 15% stronger than the US dollar, right? So do not forget that as Bitcoin enters that area here, 75K, 60K, this here already means Bitcoin is below 50,000 euro. So this means that a normal person can just sit at home and think, hey, if I can scratch together 5,000 euro, or British person would be like, oh, 4,000 pounds, 5,000 euro, and I have zero point 0.1 Bitcoin, right? This is something where people are just like, hell yeah. At that point, Ethereum is down to 2,000 euro, 1,500 euro. At that point, Solana is below 100 euros. So I think this is why, like, also with those levels aligning, that's where my thesis comes from, that like really people that have it on their bucket list will bring in so much motivation or enthusiasm again that they can finally buy a cool amount of coins or read it stabled up. Obviously, like us hardcore people, like if you are in Infinite Discord, you are in the or in AlphaBlock Discord or like your other befriended communities, we are the top 1% of nerds, crypto enthusiasts, and traders, speculators, investors that are in this niche. Like we are so much deep in. We do not really have this problem, but yeah, I think this is very, very, very important to keep in mind. Okay, IQ 97. I will check the daily chart for you. And then maybe someone else, like you can drop another question here into the streaming channel or speak up while I pull up the chart. Vitalizing and me will also speak and stream again tomorrow, but I have planned another 15 minutes or so. And yeah, feel free to ask questions or to say something now. I will quickly pull up the chart and then cover the daily chart. Okay, cool. So daily chart of Bitcoin is coming. So I will quickly use this to show you how I'm charting. Maybe that is interesting to you. So I just quickly explain what I have here. I know a lot of you are using oscillators and RSI, and I kind of love them, but I just try to train myself because RSI can be helpful. Because what you could do, let me pull up the adaptive fissure if it's loading. Yeah. So what you see here, by the way, this and that, um, I have the in silico suit. So maybe you know in silico who had like strong ties with hyperliquid, because back then, like 8 years ago, 7 years ago, I did some beta testing and code review for their indicator suit. So I have it for lifetime. It's not a big difference. Like it's also more often really volume based and market auction based additions. So what you here see is just bearish divergence or bullish divergence, but basically this is an RSI. So what I think what is a very cool bread and butter is the following thing. You check your favorite EMA or SMA, and you just check if you are above or below. And then the rule is super simple. You are only allowed, this is a trend follow, like the number one trend following system that you really can use. I'm using it for like 6 years or so now. Rule simple. You trade like a computer, okay? If price is bouncing off your moving average, you are allowed to long if another rule comes true. If price gets below your moving average, you are allowed to short if another rule comes true. Okay? The other rule is, does the RSI look toppy or bottomy? That's it. Okay? So let's look at this. Bounced. RSI indecisive. You would not have had a trade. That's live. That's normal. Okay. Because you want the confluence. This is just really trend following, because here the price, it was not clear, but now we have it confirmed. This is, by the way, um, golden pocket of fib level. Like, uh, you see, if you do that long enough, you just have it in your brain. Like I can look at every asset or the mountains in the Alps, and I can determine what would be a fib level. That's a golden pocket, 0.618 and 0.69 or 0.5. So this is a beautiful confluence, right? Like you see, golden pocket, RSI looks bottomy, and you bounce off. What a beautiful long instant profit. So what happened here? Price got rejected of the EMA, came even back and got rejected again right after the RSI gave a clear top signal that the market like really is going to sell off. You can punt a short here. With this system, obviously, I'm just speaking about the system, you would not have called that bottom here, right? Because we are still below the EMA, because that would be you trying to fade the market. But for this system, you would not have hit that trade. Um, the next one would then have been here again, the rejection, right? You nuked, price bounced, got rejected at the EMA, while the RSI is still in decline, while the RSI is still positive and falling down. Another beautiful shorting opportunity, followed by here, price topped, went below the EMA, even came back, bounced again. So you would have thought already about, do I want to short here? Yes, the RSI also topped out. Boom. That's why you check if you see AlphaBlock TA or the Umbas TA channel, why we shorted here also once, why I then, yes, yesterday I already closed my shorts. like that was here. I closed my shorts already at 98,800. I did not write my shorts into 95K, but that's also why my message was I closed my shorts and now I'm sitting in cash. So there was no pain whatsoever, just based off of this super simple type of trading. You have your EMA, you respect some horizontal levels, but what you respect the most is where is price getting traded, where is a point of control, and you use a super simple technique. You do not even need trading view premium for this, nothing. You do not have to buy an expensive indicator from anyone. By the way, we also have like around 10, like the code for 10 of like such indicators that you can just import. So that is definitely um, how you can trade. That was on the daily. I know that you requested it just on the hourly, but to be honest, that what we saw on the daily, that was very like you could execute that. Like just looking right now here in the same way, plainly at the hourly, there is no real trade for me. Yes, I bought a little bit of Bitcoin here, but that was just a gut feeling thing. Also, not the bottom or anything, also not with a big size. But what I am looking right now is we continue to anticipate the trend, right? So it will continue like that. Let's say we can bottom out somewhere here. So this is what we would look now if we can repeat that. We had the top, we had a lower high, another lower high. Okay. Why am I doing all this? Because this is super important. Because as soon as you flip the first lower high and can turn that into making higher lows, this is your trend flip. And this is where you then in the future, and that's why you right now, you firstly paint a chart, you spend some time to create those levels. Um, then we can maybe use this low. Okay, because as soon as price goes above here and then has the next low here, then you already know, oh, cool, here we had a higher low. But up here, why don't we do that? Because firstly, we need to get a higher low down here before we can think about going to 110K, right? So, and now comes something super interesting. I do not accept this as a low because it was just a wick that went down. So this was the low that we need to break. This is the only reason why I still have that long here open. And the stop loss for this is also super clear. Uh, if price only gets a little bit below here, I don't care if I just get stopped out. I can always relong higher. But if you look at the aggression, right, this is maybe also some alpha. Look if lows are accelerating or highs are accelerating. And this is how you can determine the pace of the market. And once the pace of the market changes, you come closer to a trend flip. Okay. So that's the maybe the last thing that I will go here. Like, the pace kind of stayed the same until we completely started nuking. Okay. So this is like our downtrend. Okay. Like that was normal. But the problem is, yeah, that the next low was not here. So what you can see here is that I now have to redraw the downtrend because selling got more diagonal. So it got more aggressive, right? This is the pace. And again, it got even more aggressive. Okay. Here, more aggressive. But what started here, you can see it a little bit. Like for the first time, it almost looks a, a, a tiny bit as if the aggression of selling might come down a little bit. But this is why, like usually, by the way, like when I usually just determine my stop loss, not the targets in the beginning, because I look at trading for or investment always just from the perspective, how good is the trade or investment? Like how good do I think it is? And then depending on how promising it is, I risk more money or less. Okay. And let's say my stop loss here would be $200. Then I'm always looking to just 2 or 3x. That's for me the highest probability, because of course I can just be a cool crypto caller and tell you, yeah, I'm looking for a 10 to 1 RR. Like, of course I can look for a 10 to 1 RR, but probability that you hit like those 2, 3x's on your money are simply way bigger. So this is a 2.2 ratio, okay? So I'm looking to make a little bit more, like my stop loss is $200. So I would be looking to make 500 to lose maybe 200. But here we have a very interesting level. Here we have the moving average already curling down. So what is becoming more interesting here slowly is this is what you can play for a bounce. And if, as long as the downtrend still holds true, so you see here could come some resistance, we continue the downtrend and we must make lower highs to continue the downtrend. And here are like interesting levels. So I would say if you're then looking for a short, you would be looking for a short with the entry somewhere between 99 and 79, right? Because you must stay in this negative environment for a worthy short. Then your stop loss would be somewhere above that SMA, maybe even ideally above the high here, somewhere like that. And then again, like just the classic 2 to 1. And the next time, like that's what I can tell. Like this is how I'm like looking to squeeze the markets to the up and downside in such an environment. On the here as an example on the 1 hour is if we have a bounce here, and then maybe we have a sell off again. Okay. But if now the next time we go down again from here doesn't get lower than here, then this is a clear indication that this horrible selling pressure is over and that we can maybe print a higher low again and then really start to look for more nice upside. But this is how, in my opinion, you should treat um, day trading on the hourly chart. That the rule is simple. Right now, we are in a downtrend. We are usually biased that we want the market to recover, but we still have to be honest to ourselves and think, if the downtrend continues, where would price kind of reject? Probably here, somewhere between the 20 or 50 MA, between the last high or the last low. And only if the market finally starts to print a higher low for the first time, then we can start to really increase. Like, yes, of course, there's always some cool person that that just longed 12 Bitcoin at 94,800, and the person will only send you the screenshot when the stop loss is already in profit, of course. But don't let people gaslight you into this, please. That's, as I said, the 50 VWMA volume weighted moving average is quite similar. But as it says, it accounts also for the volume, and those levels are not far off. Wait. Volume weighted moving average plus VRVP are the waves on the side that help you determining the point of control. Most interesting price for current market auction. And yeah, this here is just the stuff from the in silico suit is literally just showing the RSI blip with horizontal levels. So this is basically a nothing burger. So to be like really clear, like you see, those are just horizontal levels. I like that service, right? That green level just shows me, okay, here was the bottom and there was for the first time something a bit higher. Then the red line here just shows me this is a hard resistance, just makes my time easier. But the only thing that I'm using is the VRVP. So here the volume auction levels and literally the 50 VWMA. And the rest is what you see in the eye. So that's like, I'm still long here, probably might take a profit soon. We'll try to reshort, and as soon as we don't go below 95K again, you increase the longs or your spot buys if you trade spot. Yeah. Ooh, do you suggest any more indicators to use? So those two are quite crucial, I would say. So, but to be clear, if you like the 50 SMA, the 50 SMA is exactly as good as the VWMA. Like it's just for you to determine, right? Like what was the average price in some way, shape, or form in the last 20 or 50 days. Super cool. The VRVP, please get this one if you like. It's also free. This one here. Maybe someone noticed. Maybe you like. Everyone knows ChatGPT, obviously. Claude, Claude AI by Anthropic is my favorite AI to use, and I have the back like the colors of this one, just as a gimmick. Um, Let me check for you other indicators that do not cost money, obviously, because this, just want to say, this is not worth it. Like if you want some custom indicator, like I am writing indicators for a lot of years already. If you see super promising indicators and have a description of it, you can literally just ping me in the chat and I can literally recreate them for you. Like it's easy, especially nowadays with AI. Um, what indicator is also cool? I made this once. Is it loading? Yeah, this is so crazy. This is with the cycles. This is not like something that I deeply recommend, but what you see, what I made here is those are, as you can see, the different trading sessions. Yeah. Asia, US, Europe. Right now it's US session, right? This can just be cool for you to visualize. And you see what I did here. I can share this indicator. It's fully for free. I made this for you. The diamonds that you see here. Um, I told you about that strategy that I had, right? With the if the RSI is curling down and you are in a downtrend, blah blah blah. This rule set I put together in an indicator, and if all those rules are true, then you get a buying signal. And if all the rules for the downside are true, so a suggested buy and a suggested take profit or sell, right? Then you see those diamonds. So that is just a visualization of the rule set. I can just give you that one here, visualization of the global market sessions in the colored. Yeah, it's having a high win rate. You're absolutely right. And there's also, sorry, a system. What would be your stop loss, right? Like you just say, I am risking $10. Yeah. And what you would do in that situation is that you then just like, this is something you need to determine yourself, like what would be the line in the sand here. And then your take profit is usually just like, as I said, 2, 3, or 4 times higher. Um, but yeah, um, what you also see here, the white thing in the background in this indicator is the Bollinger Bands. So those diamonds come also like when the Bollinger Band suggested maybe price has to revert back. So yeah, it is quite cool. I can give you that indicator. It's fully for free. Let me check. Sessions and momentum. Yeah. I will try to upload it into TradingView. Otherwise, maybe I can find another platform where I can upload it, or I just share the code with you. Let me check for another indicator. Um, Visible range volume profile, by the way, is VRVP. The colored section, as well as orange and purple diamonds as buying or selling suggestion, uh, including fading of Bollinger Bands, which means this indicator is looking to trade you back towards fair price, if you want to call it like that, right? Like Bollinger Bands, maybe you guys know, um, by John Bollinger, one of the oldest indicators actually. Um, Basically, just incorporating also um, volume together with the moving average, and is kind of suggesting where, depending on how aggressive up or down moves were in the past, where the price or the moving averages or the fair auction price would continue. And that is then in combination here with my blue line with the 50 VMA, you see how often it is exactly the price reversion point, right? So that is why right now also the diamonds said this. Funnily, they did not suggest to buy here, which I think is crazy. Um, so yeah, this is something that I can recommend in the VRVP. I'm just typing it out for you. Visible range volume profile. For this indicator is also a lot of content online. Um, yeah, but I also have like EMA principles and blah 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 that like so many people also shared in the past. Like, but there is not more indication for me. Like, you can use the relative strength index, the oscillator of your choice for down here, but I just love going after price. Like everything that I just described to you in this first session that I enjoy trading with always comes down to volume and momentum. Like, just how much how much dollars were needed to get the Bitcoin price 1% up. And this already tells you basically all of the story. If people just tried to long $100 million worth of Bitcoin, but the price still cannot go up, then market makers or whoever just know, if we are going to push price down 3-4%, those $100 million worth of longs need to close again and the price fires back. So all of this basically um, goes down to really what is the market and the participants doing right now. And maybe in the future, I can talk a little bit about order flow, tape reading, footprints, because what I am doing usually is trading off gut feeling, like with those, like as I just showed you. One time there's a session where you invest some time into a drawing, then you have your overall plan, and then it's really just looking and following at the money flow, at the aggression, at the harmony in the market or not. Where can we get that global market sessions indicator? From me. I will share it with an explanation and the code access for you. I made it. it's not like, also, by the way, I do not claim that any of what I say is an invention for me. I've had a lot of mentors throughout the years, and I just want to let you know that I have a degree as an IT specialist who did his train. Like, I did my training for those 3 years. Um, we made software for the core banking system. So for me, like everything that I did in my professional career was always IT, finance, fintech. So I was literally back then already at 2017 doing software for private banks, where I was seeing in 2017 a product for a traditional bank that had the ticker BTC in it, but they were not allowed to release this. But I just knew, like, I just saw the stuff, and I I loved it, and I had many mentors. I was lucky enough to have had people that did not charge me money for hours of explanations, which is why with great people like you and with Vitalizing, who's my business partner, we just do not. I would never get the idea to like tell an indicator or be like, yeah, this course is 12,000 euro or whatever. If for contributors there can be a financial benefit or for stuff that we can do together, that's cool. But the thought was always that, yeah, maybe a small paywall uh, can be nice, right? Like if you go to the gym, or like if people go to the gym and they get a training plan for free and they download it, or they just get it for free, yeah, maybe I don't do it. But if you paid for your coaching lessons, or if the training, that the plan costs money, or your subscription because it's a nicer gym, maybe you take it more seriously. But it's somewhere in between. I think knowledge, especially, must be accessible, because the super cool thing about crypto and communities like Infinite or AlphaBlock is, if we as a community get better, we all make more money, because if I share my alpha, like just the stuff that I'm good at or maybe helpful with you, you will obviously share your good stuff, or it motivates you to share also stuff with me. So I also benefit from it. And if we all make more money, we all have a nicer life and have more opportunities for each other. And the more money we make in crypto or in financial markets or in business, the more time we have to do more research and share even more alpha with each other. So that's why this is such a beautiful win-win-win, to just look out for your friends, because yeah, a bull market without friends is also lame, right? Okay, thank you so much for yeah, like 20, 30, 40 people in total, like showing up, like absolutely crazy. I will be looking to also, like, we will be looking to upload the recording uh, in here in AlphaBlock. I will share everything. I think, Asian, you created also a forum. Yeah, I will just make sure to upload it properly, the indicator with an explanation. And yeah, maybe we see each other again tomorrow. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Vielen Dank, gern geschehen.